Senator Perdue and then Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank both you, Chairman Enzi, and you, Chairman Price, for your perseverance and leadership in a very difficult time in this budget process. For the first time since 2002, both chambers have made it a priority to pass a budget resolution. We're now prepared to come together and resolve our differences, the first time in many years, have a meaningful budget. While this is an important micro step, it's just that, a micro step. We still have a lot of work to do over the coming years to fix our debt crisis. We need to put together a responsible framework that eliminates the need for budget gimmicks. No more continuing resolutions. No more omnibus bills. We need a budget resolution that allows Congress to pass appropriation bills and return our nation to fiscal stability. Passing a conference budget resolution is the first step in restoring faith of the American people that this process can work. Being new to the Senate and to the political process, I have an outside perspective, and it allows me to see our current financial situation with a unique perspective. Back home in Georgia, people are outraged. I'm outraged by the financial irresponsibility of Washington on both sides of the aisle. In the last six years alone, this federal government has spent $21.5 trillion doing its business. Of that, we borrowed $8 trillion. Ladies and gentlemen, that just simply cannot continue. Our skyrocketing national debt is over $18 trillion. And there isn't enough urgency in Washington to rein that in. Worse than that, we have over $100 trillion in future unfunded liabilities, primarily related to Medicare and Social Security. We're already past the tipping point of this fiscal crisis. If interest rates were to go to their 30-year average alone of about 5.5%, we'd be paying just under $1 trillion of interest today. That's twice what we allocate to our military spending and equal to what we have in our discretionary budget. That's simply unmanageable. For a generation, Washington's dysfunction has created gridlock. One side, as you just heard, wants tax increases. The other side wants spending cuts. As a simple business guy, this sets up a false choice. Neither one will solve the problem entirely. We cannot tax our way out of this mess, and we simply can't cut our way out either. To break the gridlock and to start solving this debt crisis, we have to get serious over this coming year, to get our economy growing, to do the things that Washington can do best to help people in the free enterprise system. Yes, the free enterprise system, get this economy going. It's not going to start within the Beltway. One simple point of growth in the GDP means over $3 trillion in federal tax revenue over the next 10 years. You guys want more revenue? Let's grow this economy. It's anemic right now. It's been anemic for the last decade. There's no reason that we should be growing 2% a year. The 30-year average is over 3.5%. We can get back to that. Combined with eliminating redundant agencies, that would go a long way to setting up our kids and grandkids and solving this debt crisis. Further, we need to protect today's seniors and restore the promise of a brighter future for the next generation. We must save our safety net programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and others to ensure these programs will still be there for the people who need them most. Both Social Security and Medicare, as we heard in recent testimony before this very committee, are already facing bankruptcy today, and by around 2033, their respective trust funds will be totally depleted. Not taking action right now is irresponsible, unsustainable, and doesn't resolve our underlying spending problem. Right now, we have an opportunity to lead. This budget conference provides us with an open and transparent process to find lasting solutions to our fiscal challenges. I believe both the House and the Senate have included important budget reforms that I wholeheartedly embrace. We need to debate those here, front and center, and come to resolution soon. Again, this is just the first micro step. Over the next year, Congress has to commit to work every day to find a way to grow this economy, cut out wasteful spending, allow us to balance our budget sooner, and develop a long-term debt crisis plan. Merely balancing the budget is not good enough. We need to develop a long-term plan to produce a surplus each year so we can begin to pay down this outrageous debt and put our nation back on a path to fiscal responsibility. And let me say this. I've heard today repeatedly that we measure our debt, we measure the size of our government as a percentage of GDP. You know, that makes sense when you have a benchmark to which to compare. Name another $17 trillion economy that we can use that data point to make it meaningful at all. In my view, if the economy grows 10% a year, why should this federal government grow 10% a year? People want this government to work. They want Washington to be functional, accountable, and transparent. That's both sides. We're both guilty. There are no innocent parties when it comes to this $18 trillion of debt. This conference process just gives us a first step opportunity toward meeting those goals and making Washington work again. We've had about 6 weeks to deal with 6 years of fiscal irresponsibility, and I would argue indeed 60 years of fiscal irresponsibility. The time to stand up and do what's right is now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.